Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place to be for tips, tools, and strategies to help you build a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle. All about you. We bring in guest speakers and we come to have some fun and to get to know you. Hey, Yolanda. Uh, so that's what we're doing today. We're coming in here. We're going to learn about some new things. We're going to have a conversation, and we're going to, our coffee conversations. We always like stirring up stuff, like a good cup of coffee. So we're going to have our coffee conversations, and then we're going to talk to one of our guests, and this is just going to be a really good time here at BizChicks on a Monday morning. It's the beginning of the week. It's the beginning to fire us up. And so today I have in the room with me all the way from Sacramento, California, or maybe it's Fair Oaks, California. We have Miss Lynnis Woods. And so, hey, Lynnis, how are you doing today? And I think you...
Okay, yeah. I am here today. Great to be here with you today. I cannot believe we are already in May, almost halfway through 2022. But May is a fantastic month for me because that means it's exactly 1 month before I turn 65 years old. So I'm excited.
Happy birthday.
I'm excited about that. I'm not one of those people that dread the age. I look forward to the idea of now 65 says I'm supposed to have all this wisdom, right? Well, that's the goal. But actually, my goal for 65 really is to learn as much new stuff as I can. So I'm working on 2 new coaching certifications, and I'm doing as much as I can to get out there more, to talk with people, because the more I talk to people, the more I learn from people. So I'm just excited to be here to talk with you. And I have to say, girl, you rocking that gray.
Okay, we have to do this, right? I was like, I want it to be all white, but I'm just going to be patient while it gets there. But I decided to embrace it. It's like, this is it. And as long as the cut is cool.
The cut is cool. And you look great. You look fabulous. There are more and more women who are getting empowered to be gray. And that is not to put any shade on anyone who doesn't feel comfortable doing it. You only want to do what you feel comfortable in, because what you feel comfortable in, that's when you rock. But for those of you who are like, oh, should I or shouldn't I kind of want to, and you're letting society dictate to you, or some of your girlfriends say, girl, don't go gray, but deep down inside you really want to do it, go gray, girl. I'm telling you, it is
so
amazing.
Freeing.
Yes, it is
so freeing.
Yes, it is.
And healthy hair is better than just healthy hair is better always.
Yeah. I stopped putting chemicals in my hair almost 10 years ago. And, I was doing it a lot in corporate America. I was going, twice a month to the beauty parlor, getting my hair relaxed and colored and all the stuff we do. And when I became an entrepreneur, one of the first things that went was going on a regular basis. So I had to learn how to do my hair. And every once in a while, I'll go to the beauty parlor, but no chemicals, none of that stuff, just conditioning. And I'm so glad that I did, because I do believe that one of the reasons, besides just hormonal, that women our age begin to lose their hair is because of all the stuff we continue to do to it,
Right.
We got to take a look at that, because also all those chemicals are going right into the center of our head. The most absorptive part of our head is right up here.
Yep.
So
yes. And so I learned some things. It's like no more anything. And this is all natural. So
looks good, girl.
And no, I'm talking no chemicals. And the guy who styles my hair, he actually makes it, I like wearing it straight, so he can do it without the chemical.
I like it. It's very becoming. And actually, you look super young.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So Mark is here, and Mark said nobody told Chicago that it's May.
I know. Our brothers and sisters in the Midwest are definitely feeling it, and some other parts of the country too. I was talking to one of my clients in Canada, and she's like, look, in Ontario. And I said, is that normal for Ontario? And she said, no, but snow outside her on her porch, she said. So yeah, sorry, Mark.
And he says both of us are gorgeous. Thank you, Mark.
Oh,
Appreciate
you're
it.
very sweet, Mark.
And we got Yolanda here in the house over on Clubhouse. And so the conversation that you and I, it was a conversation that I sent out on our Monday morning call. And it was that we have everything we need to prosper. We have everything that we need to succeed. And the only thing that is standing in our way is how we think about ourselves, how we think about, hey, Dr. Tachi, how
Hi, Dr. Tachi.
How we think about ourselves, or how we think about money, because our money stories kind of dictate, our environmental stories about money kind of dictate to why we do what we do. And sometimes it's like we don't even realize the subconscious is kind of running everything.
This is true. This is true. That script that runs in the background is very powerful.
Right.
I've been taking some NLP training and I'm learning so much. I wish I had known this, when I first got started in business. But you know what? It was my journey to take, because now it's so much more powerful, because my journey in business for 14 years, the first 5 years were really tough. And a lot of it had to do with what was going on in between in my mind. And I still have to work on that. But I have learned that we can actually reprogram our neural pathways in terms of the things we think and how we think about it. And your messaging to yourself, the words that you say about yourself and to yourself, are so hugely important. They come with vibrations. They come with automatic filters, because, everybody has a different meaning for that one word. So you want to be careful what you say about yourself to yourself, what you say about yourself to others. All those things are so important. But probably the most important thing is the story we tell ourselves over and over again. That story. I am learning not to be vested in the story. Yes, it happened. And yes, I reacted that way. And this is what I've learned. Hopefully move on instead of repeating the story over and over and over again, because it keeps you in that frame of mind. And it's not like I'm in denial or anything like that, but I've learned to try to learn the lesson, ask the Holy Spirit to guide me in terms of what else I'm supposed to go, but definitely get off of that story. Because there's some stories I used to tell myself all the time. And I didn't even realize I was telling myself, having to do with lack and having to do with not being enough, having to do with not knowing enough, all this other stuff. And I just don't say those things anymore. Do I still have things to learn? Absolutely. But I do know that if I were to just stop all my learning and be where I am right now, that's enough too.
Right.
I believe that when you see an opportunity, that's your opportunity to take. You already have everything you need to succeed in that opportunity.
You are so right. And Mark is saying here how we think about ourselves and being crystal clear about what we want. Yes, yes, and yes. So many are unconscious of the story that they are telling and avoiding the gift/curse that they are also the author of the story. So yeah, you're writing it. Somebody was saying, I think it was John Assaraf, if you can act, you can become the actor, actress, the star of your story, the star of the movie, that this movie called your life. You are the actor or the actress. You are the playwright. You wrote the script, all of it. We have everything that we need to prosper. We have everything, but now we need to step into the role.
Yeah, that's interesting, because stepping into the role is probably the most difficult thing, especially if you're not feeling it. There's something that Joyce Meyer says, maybe other people say too, but just sticks with me every time. And that is, do it anyway. Do it with fear anyway. Mm-hmm. Because on the other side of that fear is such a sense of joy that you actually did the thing that you're afraid of, or did the thing that you didn't think you could do. Many times it's just what's that conversation that's going on between our head. If you can ignore that and do it anyway. I had an opportunity to do 2 different trainings for myself at the same time, both graduate level trainings. And I got grants for both of them. And I was like, man, there's no way. I've got clients, I've got a life. There's just no way I can do this. But I keep saying, thinking in my head, I kept hearing this voice. If God brought you to it, he'll bring you through it. And I'm doing it. And I've got time to spare.
Yes.
Yes. It's amazing how when you're operating in your gifting, or when you're on the journey you're supposed to be on, it's amazing how time stretches out or speeds up, depending on what you need. And so it's crazy, but I even had time to come here today. And I was like, what? I have time?
Yes.
Who knew? But I think it's because of my mindset. I made up my mind. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Mark says, in my prior life, I was a professional actor. This is how I actually learned that the way life really works. Intention, subtext, inner monologue, the way that life is created on the stage is actually the same as it is created in real life. You rehearse. I believe you danced.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that as a dancer, when you are on stage, you have to practice like the routine that you're going to do for real. You have to go all out, because if you kind of haphazardly if you haphazardly practice, it's going to come out haphazardly when it was time for the show, right? So you had to go all in during practice.
Yes, practice is extremely important. In fact, what happens is when you are practicing doing something, and then when the time comes, it's amazing how all this other stuff just kind of kicks in. The practice kicks in, but there's something else that kicks in as well, and that is your own personality, your own enthusiasm, your own anointing kicks in and couples together to something that's really fantastic. Practice does help a lot, but what really makes practice makes perfect is when you allow yourself to really shine through that, whatever that is, so that when you're walking through that door of opportunity and you've practiced and you've rehearsed whatever it is, a speech or a dance or acting, whatever it is, a presentation, and you've practiced and practiced, then you just have to know that the other part of that practice is you. And that's what's going to make it excellent. Right. You've got this. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You have to, like Mark was saying, so your life is how shall I say this? Your life, are you ready to take the stage of your own life? It's time. I don't know what we're waiting for. We're waiting in the wings and we're doing some other stuff, but it's time to take the stage. And everything you have all the resources available to you. The lights are on, microphones are working, and it's time for you to take the stage. You have it. You've already prepared. Your life to this point has prepared you for this point. Like you were saying, okay, but are you going to take the stage? Are you going to step up, smile, and shine because you've got this? And just step into the role. And like you said, there's going to be a little stage fright. Well, the Academy Award-winning actors and actresses, they just smile and step out there and do it anyway. Like Joyce Meyer said, do it afraid. Let's just go.
Mm-hmm. Let's just go. And, I'm telling you, on the other side of that fear is such joy because you did it, the accomplishment. It's kind of like jumping off a diving board. I don't know about you. I have a diving board in my backyard, and every time it's time for me to jump off that diving board, I'm always like, and then I do it naturally. It's like, well, let's do it again, and then it's okay. But every single time I go, especially the first jump of the year or the first jump of the day, there's that little bit of trepidation. Then just go ahead and do it. And it's amazing how you feel when you get rid of that negativity, because I believe those little voices in your head that are trying to keep you from doing what you were meant to do, that's just nothing but the trick of the enemy. It's a distraction. And we were talking about distractions before we came on earlier, what the distractions do. And right now, I was telling Francine, I believe that we have so many distractions going on right now, because there's huge breakthroughs for a lot of people, huge breakthroughs for God's people, as I would say, huge breakthroughs. And if we allow those distractions to keep us from that, we're going to really miss out. But it's not that you don't want to be aware of what's going on. You're aware, but that's not stopping you, from what it is that you need to do, especially for entrepreneurs. Lately, the whole thing about the economy and how it's shrinking and all that, okay, yeah, that's going on in the world. But in my bubble, I just got just today, this morning, in my bubble with the so-called bad economy, I just got a year-long client who paid me in advance. And this is in what we call a bad economy. But I refuse to accept that. That's just a distraction. That's not to say that we don't have things going on. And we do. But it's just to say that whatever's going on, we can move past that by watching our thoughts. I love what Mark said, by the way. That was excellent.
And he also goes on to say the biggest mistake that we so often make is running from fear. The key is always to go forward, go toward it. There is something waiting for you on the other side. We are always afraid of our greatness. Our expansion triggers the ego, which wants to keep things comfortably the same. Fear is a valuable member of the team, but it should never be in a management position.
Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. Mark, I had an anxiety disorder for years, and I'm happy to say that I'm 97% anxiety free. But one of the many, many things I learned to do was to lean into it, because I learned that the more I tried to avoid it, the worse it got. It got bigger than life, and it was debilitating. But if I said, now, whatever I do have, and like I said, it's 97% free, but whatever I do, I say, it has a name, Anxiety Annie. And I say, okay, Anxiety Annie, I'm going to visit with you for about 5 minutes. And at the end of 5 minutes, you got to go. And what happens is that after about a minute or two, I'm like, okay, it's 5 minutes up there. She's already gone, because I went ahead and leaned into it and addressed it. And it no longer has that mystery, that hold over you, because you're confronting it. So that was a great one too, Mark. Mark, you should be on here.
I know, he needs to jump in. And then Janice says, we are not given the spirit of fear, love over fear. And we, yeah. So I was listening to someone, and they said, always when you're moving into success, there's going to be that little struggle. You're gonna be uncomfortable. You're going to be a little bit not feeling it. You understand what I mean? You're going to be a little apprehensive while you're going to the next thing that you're supposed to do, while you are pursuing and getting into the thing that you're supposed to get into. There's going to be a little bit of uncomfortable. Well, the uncomfortable is a sign that you're on the right track, because you're moving into the new thing. Like, okay, you just said that you're taking on some new classes and things for your coaching, but it's a little uncomfortable because it's new information that you haven't had before, but you still have to do it.
Exactly.
Still uncomfortable.
Do it anyway. Do it. Yep. You still have to do it. And it's interesting, because when you find yourself doing things anyway, even when you're uncomfortable, it's another opportunity. It's kind of like a confirmation that you are strong, that you've got this, that you can. Every time you push yourself a little bit further beyond what you thought you couldn't do, the more confident you become.
Yes. So Mark's comment here, he says, economic forecasts are based on people's actions. If people plug into fear, the result is a negative economic forecast. If people move beyond the fear, the economy bounces back. It's actually an emotional forecast becoming tangible.
Oh.
Mark is a little deep here today.
Come on. Mark, you're absolutely right about that, though. If everybody collectively were just not to accept that and push forward anyway, we would be in we would go above and beyond our expectations in terms of what the economy could be. If everybody would get on board in that and just ignore that and still move forward anyway.
Right. And Janice says it is unknown, uncomfortable. It is unknown, uncomfortable is unknown and uncomfortable is a sign of growth. And she said, God stretches us so that we can be all he's made us to be.
This is true.
Yeah. And so pushing forward and not retreating and not cowering down, because he said we're supposed to expand. And we teach a smart money management class for our church. And a lot of the gurus tell you, don't buy, you can, instead of buying that latte or buying the bottled water or what have you, you can save that money and do such and such. But God says, I want you to increase and I want you to stretch out. He didn't tell us to cower down and shrink down. Yeah, you can have a cup of coffee. Yes, you can buy bottled water. Just ask for more instead of the other way, which is to pull back and to shrink down. And a lot of times we pull back and shrink down our dreams, or we pull back and we shrink down what it is that we want to do in times like these. Because I'm seeing in times past, millionaires were made in the time of what was considered to be a downturn.
That's right. That's very true. A lot of millions were made during the Depression, believe it or not.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's interesting, though. It's our minds are so powerful. They're so powerful. And we need to honor that. We need to recognize that, because now we're moving into the whole thing around manifestation, but that is one of the bases of manifestation. And that is the thoughts and the things that we think and the how we speak. And also the other thing I think that makes a huge difference is who you surround yourself with. They say that you are representative of the top 5 people in your life. So if you take a look at your life, and if you don't really like what's going on, take a look at the 5 people that you spend the most time with in your life. What's going on with them? And more than likely, you'll probably see some kind of correlation.
Yeah, and you are, because you're picking up. That is why it's so important, your associations, because you're picking up their vibe, and we kind of tend to emulate, not if we don't copy them per se, but we still emulate and pick up their ways of doing things. That's how we learned in our families to do certain things, because we picked up the vibe that was happening in the family.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's very true. That's very true. You know how you hear people talk about generational curses, family curses, or whatever. And it's not to say that I don't believe those exist, but that doesn't mean that you have to buy into it to say, okay, that's who you're going to be. Mm-hmm. You can flip the script and make a change. And here's something else that's very interesting. When it comes to DNA and genes and things like that, I'm a wellness person, health person, so I take all these classes and science around stuff. I just got through taking this genetics class. It's fascinating in terms of our ability to defy the genes. 20% of how we are today is due to our genes. The other 80% is all due to our choices, and our lifestyle.
Our choice is based on how we think. It's that silent stuff in the background that
absolutely. You're choosing to exercise, or you're not choosing to exercise. You're choosing to eat well, or you're not choosing to eat well. You're choosing to take supplements, or you're not choosing to take supplements. You're choosing to be stressed, or you're not choosing to be stressed. I mean, these are all choices, believe it or not, and they all feed into your overall health standards or your overall wellness standards. And only 20%. So if you're predisposed, let's say, to have diabetes, all right, type 2 diabetes, let's say, not type 1, you can't help that, you're born that way, but type 2, just because you might be predisposed to have that doesn't mean that you just sit back and say, okay, well, I'm just going to have diabetes one day, nothing I can do, I'll take insulin, it'll be fine. No. You start working on making those choices so that you don't have that. Because you don't have to choose that for your life. If you don't do anything about it, then you are choosing that for your life. I mean, you do have the genetics that might support that 20%, but that other 80% is all about you and your choices.
Right. Carlos talked about, he asked for discounts when we were talking about the asking for more. And then Mark says, I love that you said that you lean in to your anxiety. This is wisdom. That which you refuse to acknowledge grows. It is the boogeyman under the bed. This is a lesson. This is a lesson, especially for men who are conditioned to never admit fear. And I like this, because look under the bed and tell the thing to go. Don't, instead of being like, oh, okay, look, you need to come out from under there. Just get going, like anxiety Annie. Okay, you got to go now.
That's true. That is so true. We don't have to be victims. And I know it might be an overused word sometimes, but what I mean by victims is that letting the situation dictate to us. We can dictate to the situation. And I know that sometimes that's difficult. And that's when you can't do it yourself, if you're around the right kind of people, okay, if you've made the right choices in terms of who your village is, who your tribe is, who your support system is, they can help bring you through some of those times when it might be difficult for you to just dig deep and do it yourself. Who you hang around with, the people that you choose to be in your inner sanctum is huge when it comes to your manifestation, when it comes to the being prosperous and being successful. It makes a huge difference.
Carlos says, life is like quicksand. If you struggle, it pulls you in deeper. And then William says, yes, I'm doing this with hypertension.
In other words, you mean you're making a choice?
Yeah, William, I believe you're making a choice to do something about it instead of just letting it be.
Right. Exactly. Or just thinking, well, I'll just take insulin and that'll be okay. And let me tell you what happens when you make those kinds of choices of choosing the path of least resistance. There's so many other things that you're missing as a result, because many times going ahead and facing the fears along that way, you learn so much. It's going to prepare you for something else later on. If you choose the path of least resistance, you miss the opportunity for those key learnings that are going to help you in the future. And you find yourself choosing least resistance all the time, and your life is just not as full.
So, yeah, he said he's leaning into doing something about it, and he stopped smoking. Because again, it goes back to what you were saying about choices, where, I'm just going to, and more sleep. Okay.
Rest is important.
And then working on a keto diet. Okay. So he's making a conscious decision to change something. And, again, it goes back to choice. What am I going to do today? Right. I just need to do today. What will I do? I don't have to try and figure out the next 90 days. Let me just do today. Start right here and make the better choice today.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. This is really good. I want you to stick around if you can. Our guest today is Gloria Bailey-Ray. And she's going to come in and talk a little bit about what she does. So I'm going to bring her in, and we're going to have a little conversation with her. And we still got Dryer Buzz over here in Clubhouse. If you all have any questions, you've already been interactive here, but please let's have some more of a conversation. So I'm going to bring to the stage Gloria Bailey-Ray. Hey, Gloria, how are you today? And let's see. Okay. How are you?
Look, I'm blessed and highly favored. How about yourself?
We are. See, we're keeping up with you.
All right. All right, then. Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And hey, I'm here to just talk. I've been enjoying the dialogue and conversation that I've gotten to hear thus far. And it's real. What people are talking about, it's really real. So those are the things. So yeah, I'm here at your disposal.
All right. So tell us about Gloria Bailey-Ray. What do you do?
So that's a good question. All right. So Reader's Digest version. And I think that that it's important that people know this. You know, one of the things that happens a lot of times people forget that God gives us gifts.
Mhm.
And we tend to push and mash down those gifts. So I do a number of things. First and foremost, I host a dope talk show that's live. It's both national and international, called You Didn't Get the Memo. And that came about from a book that I wrote, You Didn't Get the Memo, Navigating Corporate America. So we can definitely talk about that. But at the same time, I'm also a speaker, a motivational speaker. I'm a certified professional life coach. And as I said, I do a number of things, and I also host a very spiritual 30-minute podcast every Thursday night on Spreaker.com. So a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah, but
but
this is
but using all the gifts.
but using, and that was the key. And so, Lynnis, I'm going to bring you back on this conversation because you came from the corporate world as well, and and she put a comment in here that she would love to be on your podcast. She also came from a corporate background,
Mm-hmm.
and in making that transition from corporate into your own, how did that go?
Yeah. Well, let me just say, first of all, I kind of went kicking and screaming, right? The reality of it is, and there's so many things that I think that, and being a Black woman, I'm speaking from a Black woman's perspective, that Black women and Black people in general don't get the memo when we're working in corporate America. So how did that go? I ended up starting to get downsized when I hit that, I guess, that magical age of about 50-ish, early 50s, right? And it was like a shock to me because I've always been raised. You work hard, you give 150%, you stay on the job for 30 years and a gold watch and a retirement plan. And it just didn't happen that way. And for me, I was blindsided. I know that I was better than a lot of my colleagues, but yet they were kept. I was let go. And then it became that battle of, okay, you're trying to apply for a job. And I always found it interesting. One thing that sticks out to me, I went on an interview, and what this person didn't know was that I knew people who knew him. And he was saying, well, why have you been downsized? I think I got downsized 3 times in a matter of 2 years, right? And he says, that's a lot. And I'm not certain that you would be a good fit. Well, first of all, you got to hear those buzzwords. What does that mean? A fit. What's a good fit? Number one. Number two, I just flipped the switch, and my thing was, well, how many times have you been downsized? And I think maybe it's the way that I asked it that he knew that I knew he had been downsized 5 different times. And the thing is, that happens. But people want to throw you out and say, oh, you're no longer viable. And what we forget a lot of times in corporate America is that we need those people who are more mature, because guess what? We bring something to the table that a lot of our, no knock against Gen Xers and the millenniums, but we bring something different. And I think that we all need each other. So for me, I know for a fact that I need the millenniums and the Gen Xers, but they need me. They need my maturity. They need my thought process, because a lot of times you just want to rush in. And just because your boss says to do something, you need to have the wherewithal to think, maybe that's not, because guess what? You do it and it's going to all fall on your shoulders. So how I dealt with it, I decided that I'm going to do something different. And that's when I decided to become a certified professional life coach, to really help people who wanted to transition out of corporate America and figure out what their gifts were. What are you really, really good at? What do you love to do? See, we have been so accustomed to dangling the carrot of a dollar bill in front of people, as opposed to what your passion is. And when you love what you do, that saying is true. You'll never feel like that you worked a day in your life. And still, I don't make all the money that I love to make or whatever. But guess what? I have peace. I'm happy. I enjoy what I do. And then the thing is the satisfaction of knowing that I'm actually able to help other people transition out. So initially, it was a shock. In answer to your question, going back to it, it was a shock. But when I stopped and said, okay, what else do I want to do now? And I will tell you, I'm spiritual. So I said, okay, God, it's all up to you. You got to show me where you want me to go. And this is true story. Every time after saying that I went on a job interview or tried to apply for a job, I never got the job. So I'm like, I have all these degrees, and yet I can't get a job, right?
Mhm.
So that was my aha moment was, okay, God wants you to do what it is that he wants you to do. And you need to live with that, sit with that, and be okay with the fact that somebody may see you. I tell people all the time, look, I'm the new 45 because I think like the millenniums and the Gen Xers, but I also thank God that I have the wherewithal to know and to think and to process things out as well.
That's really good, and you are spot on because this generation needs our wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have. We still get the tech. We still get all of that.
Right.
As long as we don't slow down and decide we're going, like, oh, okay, we're just going to let them do it. But
Mm-hmm.
we're still out there and we're still participating and learning, always learning. That is the one thing
Yes.
that I like, that we are constantly learning. And as we're learning, but we still have the wisdom that they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
It's your story resonates with me. It's because it almost exact same thing happened to me. I didn't get laid off. I walked away from corporate America, but I had been in corporate America for over 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I left, I just knew that God had something better for me to be doing.
Right.
But the thing that's really interesting is during those lean years, those first 5 years, because I quickly found out, well, I didn't quickly find out, but over time I found out that the demographic that I had identified, that I wanted to market to, they weren't, and I wanted an online business. They weren't even online like that at that time.
Come on.
So ignorance is bliss. I didn't do any market research. I said, I want to do this. But I a couple of times I would, so I'm just go back to work, whatever. And first time in my life, usually when I go on a job interview, I get the offer. I may not always take the job, but I get the offer.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on about 2 or 3 different interviews during that 5-year period. I did not get the offer. I was like, wow, I didn't even get the second interview. And, I began looking at that, and I look back at that now, and I know that was just not what God had for me.
That's
and
right.
then, going into my 6th and 7th year, I had some contracts with corporate America. And after those contracts were over, even though they were lucrative, I said, I will not do that again. Because I was right back in that culture, and I don't want that any longer. So that's just not for me any longer. It was for me in terms of part of my development, but it's not for me now. And the other thing you're talking about with millennials, I have to say that I have an internship program with my company, and I've had now 14 or 15 interns in the last 12 years. And they have been so hungry for guidance and knowledge.
Yes.
And the other thing that's happening that I've noticed in my demographics is that the 30-somethings, more of them are following me because things are so crazy right now. They want to know, how can I end up looking like you at 65?
Right.
What do I need to do?
Right.
Where do I need to go? That kind of thing.
I heard that. Look, and I got a few years on you.
You do okay, hey, and that's the other thing. They want to know, how can you still be vibrant? Because society is saying that after 50 or so, we're just not that relevant. But we are just flipping the script on that. The baby boomers are turning that all upside down, and we're riding it. We're basically building the track as the train is moving, because this has never happened before in history that women our age are doing what we're doing.
Yeah. And also, if I can jump in, one of the things with the pandemic, what has happened, what the Gen Xers and the millenniums now, what corporate America is scrambling to try to do, because people realize hey, look, I don't need to be in a brick and mortar building, right? And so as a result, they're doing a lot of remote work. Well, now people and literally, I think what's happening is corporate America is realizing a lot of these people who were managers, and the word manager, just that word, what does that uh, invoke within you? Manager. Over that, you can do the job. And my whole thing, do the job. You can do the job from home and still go walk your dog and, play with your baby and do whatever. And people, not everyone is a morning person, right? And so I think that also made companies start to look at it and say, wow, I have people who prefer to work from 11 at night, until 5 in the morning, and they get the work done. And if you really look at what's happening, unlimited PTO with a lot of companies right now, you are able to work 1 week on, 1 week off, those kind of things. And so the pendulum is swinging, but it still leaves our Gen Xers and our millenniums kind of wondering, because, at one point, remember when you and I were coming along, having a baby, being a mom, being a wife, that was almost like, oh no, you know what, all you need to do was be a corporate woman, and you couldn't have all of that. Well, now look at what's happening. Generations are now, that's changing a lot. And so for me, I just want to say, as a life coach, I always tell people, I want to help you, but you got to be willing to do the work. And I've ran into a lot of people who are saying they're coaching and all of that. But, the good thing is for me is that I'm into it because I want to see you succeed. And that's the difference, as opposed to, I've met people who say they're coaches, have no clue. Don't know about documentation, don't have follow-up, good follow-through, those kinds of things. So I say to all of you who are out there looking for coaches, you know what, you really want to interview them. Because if you're going to spend money, and I'm in a situation right now with someone who told me what they could do, right? And I'm having to write emails and say, no, I can't pay you $1,000 a month. And you've not even met not even the basic minimum expectations, but to write me and say, if you pay me for the following month, I'll do that. You guys, that's a setup for setback. And we need to understand that. And so I just say that even regardless of what you're doing, if you're looking for a job in corporate America, you need to understand that you need to interview the person that's interviewing you. You need to know if you can work with these people or not. And these are all the lessons that I have learned throughout my professional journey. It's okay. I interviewed with the company and I asked, well, the guy was busy, so busy selling me on the company. And I asked if I could speak with any of his team members. They rescinded the offer. So what does that tell you? So all of the things, people are going to put on their best face, their best front, all of those things. And that's why if you write me or see anything, I always sign it authentically. Because see, I can remember what I told you because I didn't have to tell you a lie. And that's one of the things, truth, transparency, authenticity, honesty, that's really real. And people need to understand that you are really the captain of your ship, no matter what people tell you. And sometimes, by the way, you got to understand that people will come with you, but that don't mean that they're supposed to stay with you, if that makes sense. There are people along the way that you're going to meet and they will fall off. It's okay. Remember, you're writing your own book. It's you. And nobody gets to write that chapter but you. They may be intertwined. They have a few words, but we have to understand that. And so in corporate America and in life and in your business, remember the word is your business. Miss Francine, your business. BizChick, your business. This is what you have to know. Miss Lynn, listen, Lynnis, your business. And when people try to come in and they want to change or flip the script or tell you how your business needs to be, you need to also understand it's my business and it's okay to say bye-bye. If that makes sense. Yes, and I also will tell you, I don't know that somebody out there may need to hear this, but that's what's coming up for me, is that you need to be okay with owning your own stuff. You don't need permission, because what I'm giving you, there may be a million people that say I like it, but there may be a million that say I don't. And it's the same for all of us. And that's the beauty of us being able to be around in the world. But I know that I want to live this life to the fullest. I want to be happy. I want to be satisfied. But I also want to treat people the way that I want to be treated as well. So,
Oh, right. So,
What she said.
yeah.
okay.
So I think you just left us with a really good tip
Okay.
to be us, to do what it is that we do. So tell me, what is your favorite charity or cause?
Yeah, I had really been a big supporter of the Alzheimer's Association. But I will also tell you that in previous years, I have been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And so my dad had Alzheimer's. And that, if you've never known, excuse me, if you've never known anyone who has suffered from that, and to watch how dementia will take you down a road, I watched all of that, and it really is something. And so, both, for me, I would have to say first and foremost is the Alzheimer's Association is my biggest charity that I look forward to. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, okay. So I'm going to ask this question.
Okay. Look, she said, good hand on hip. Okay. All right.
If you carry a purse, what's the one thing in your purse you cannot do without?
If I carry a purse.
Or a briefcase or a backpack.
Look, I gave up briefcase this a long time ago, but I hear what you're saying. What's the one thing that I can't live without? Wow, that's a great question. This may sound weird, but I would still say the one thing that I can't live without, and there's a reason for this, would be my phone. And you know why? I go there a lot for spiritual motivation. See, people say you can't pray, you can't, and I mean, literally, I have my phone. And so I have so many positive quotes and things. And sometimes I just need to pull them up because I'm in a situation, or I'm one of those that I don't know if you guys get this, but you get a certain vibe about people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you, when you overlook that vibe and what's milling around, and I'll go to my phone. So when people think, oh, she's checking her email, no, I'm not. I put up quotes, spiritual quotes, or whatever that situation is. So I would say my phone, and it's for that reason. I know a lot of people like checking social media and all of that. What, been there, done that. But that's the one thing for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that pretty much our phones are, I can conduct my entire business from my phone. I'm a real estate broker, and so I can do everything from the phone, write a contract and do so. Plus, keeping the things that keep me grounded, spiritual, are always on the phone as well. So that's really great. And we're going to get to some comments here. And Lynnis, do you have another question that you want to?
It's interesting because I guess my question would have been, when it comes to the whole idea of pursuing your goals and objectives and things that you're excited about, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay inspired?
Oh, wow. Okay. First of all, motivation is also within. I know that, people say it's not, but listen, every time I tried to look for, you ever needed to talk to somebody and you can't talk to them, but you can talk to God. I'm just saying. And so for me, I'm out on my walk, and that keeps me going. Thinking. I told you I do a spiritual podcast. And one of the things that I talked about, I've never seen so many downloads. I talked about faith, fortitude, and favor. And so, how do I stay? You know what? I have the faith to believe that what God has promised me is going to be and coming to me and will still continue to. You got to have the fortitude to fight on, even when you feel like you're not and you feeling down, or you say, oh, I can't. But fortitude is about strength, right? And strength, that's something neither one of you can give me per se, right? Because it has to be something that's within you. And I hear people all say, I don't have the fortitude to do that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. See, it's about what you say. And then favor. When I think about all the favor that has been given to me, waking me up this morning, my bills are paid, I got the use of my limbs. That's all favor. And we tend to forget that. So, how do I stay motivated? It's a self thing. It really and truly is. Although, early on, when I got on, I was in the back room, I could hear you ladies talking, and it's about the community that you surround yourself with. And if I may say this, not everybody that's in your community, you really and truly have to look at, are they there to lift you up? Because if they're not there to lift you up and to challenge you to go higher, then they really are not there for any other purpose. When we think about our community, we need to have those people who are supporting us and say, oh, so I want to be able to lead the both of you said, whoo, I need to talk to that sister. And I tell people, hey, call me. If nothing else, you say I need a motivation. That's the thing, because that's what I feel like that I have been given, and that's what I do. But I just I just stay the path with knowing that I have been given favor, and that I have the fortitude to overcome. And listen, let me just say this, I'm human. So please make no mistake about it. Do I get down? Yes, but it's only for a minute, because I have to stop and say, okay, sometimes that's just a way, it's a stoplight that I need to slow down. Because sometimes I can get the moving and I'm excited and I need to slow down. But that's literally, I'm self-motivated for the most part.
Thank you for that. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to go over these comments from our audience and see if they have any questions. And then before I do that, can you tell us how we can find you online?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
can we find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Gloria Bailey-Ray, Ray. And so my Facebook page, my LinkedIn page, it's all Gloria Bailey-Ray. Now on Instagram, you can put in Gloria Bailey-Ray, but I'm the authentic coach. That's my handle, the authentic coach.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you so much. All right, so let's get to some of these comments.
Okay.
And because of the little delay, that we might have to think back to what it was about. Dr. says, corporate America is based on a methodical approach to work with so many people that are tired of it. The methodical approach to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mark says, the script will need to be flipped. The population of baby boomers is too large. The economy will not sustain that large of a population without enough retirement saving. Mm-hmm. It is something that is not often discussed. We are still functioning on the old paradigm of lower life expectancy and poor health of decades ago.
Yeah, Mark has been, I saw some comments earlier, and Mark, I'll say to you, you're absolutely correct. But this is why it's so important that one of the things that I learned in corporate America, and as I said, as a Black woman coming in, they throw all these things at you, but you really need to take advantage of their retirement. I don't think anybody does a 401k anymore, at this point. But whatever retirement benefits they have, if they give you stock options, we really need to lean into that. And you need to understand, because it's not about you bringing home more in your paycheck, because you got to look down the road. Also, for those baby boomers, when I hear people say, I can't go out. Let's look at them. A lot of them are Walmart greeters right now, right? A lot of them are doing jobs that they never imagined that they would be doing. And this is why you also need to know what that other passion is. What's that other job? And like Lynnis is saying, when you start a business, there are people that are really good, understand and learn technology so that you can be online, so that you're actually able to sell, whatever those goods are. You've got to be able to have a second income. And that's why I always ask people, what's your plan B? That's one of the things I talk about in my book. What's your plan B? And most people don't have a plan B. They are just looking at, I got this job and that's it. But when you walk away, or you're downsized, or whatever the case may be, your term, you need to know what your plan B is and what your plan C is. And you must do that. The earlier you start doing that, the better. So for all of the Gen Xers, the millenniums, I think we got Gen Zs now, you must make sure that you're setting aside. Don't rely on the company to do it all for you. And this is why my show, I have a lot of different people doing finances and talking about finances. That's because you need to make sure that you are covered and that you have money so that you're not out there trying to find that second or third job because you have to. There's a difference between wanting to and having to.
Right.
So thanks, Mark. Good question. Good comment.
And Dr. Tachi says, you are so right, Mark. The problem is that shifting the paradigm takes work that people don't want to put into. And if it doesn't serve the bottom line, they feel no need to change the status quo.
Right.
Then William says, I have chills. The lie statement she made is what my mama used to always say to me.
Okay.
And then Mark says, there was an organization that wanted to hire me. I told them that I would not do it unless I would meet the CEO and all of the officers. I needed to know that they were all on the same page so that I would not be set up for failure. Yeah. They allowed it, and I discovered that they were not. I would have been sabotaged in my organizational development efforts, so I declined their offer.
Good for you. Good for you, Mark. One of the things people tend to forget is also when you walk into a job, you want to know, you just don't want to just be at that job. So, to show me, what the next levels are that I would be striving to move at. Most people have no idea when they take a job, what's next? You master that. So what's next? Also, they don't give you mentors. That's one of the things that I learned. I talk about in the book. You need to have a mentor. You also need to have a relationship with people who are higher than your boss. And a lot of those bosses are intimidated that you will develop a better relationship or even a relationship because a lot of them don't have relationships with them. And so I learned that you cannot be intimidated by calling up the CEO and asking them if they are available for a cup of coffee with you or a cup of tea or to have lunch or meet them for an early breakfast. Also, another tip that I learned, you asked Francine about what organization in terms, that I would support. And that's one of the things. Find out what organizations that your CEOs and your bosses are, that they're passionate about supporting. And then you can also, if it aligns, you can also be a part of that. So those are the things that I have learned over the years, but he is so right. And until the paradigm shifts and, people, especially Black people, but people in general, when you go on a job, those are things that Mark is bringing up that you need to know, because if everybody's not on the same page, it's a lost cause.
Wow. And then William said, yes, you don't need permission.
All right.
And Mark and his jokes, the one thing I can do without is the purse. Thank
you,
Mark. Wow. This has been an awesome conversation. And now we wanted to, on First Mondays, we do a little things a little differently. We normally have our coffee, tea, thoughts, and conversations, but on first Mondays, we bring in a guest, Gloria Bailey-Ray and Lynnis Woods Mullins. But now we also want to hear about some people from the audience. If you can tell us what it is that you do and how we can find you, because see, in this community, we want to work with people we've met, even if we haven't met them face to face. We want to be able to work with people we've met. So that's one of the things that we do on First Monday is showcase who you are and what you do. And Lynnis, you're already seated here, so tell us about you and what you do.
Okay, well, I'm a holistic living and wellness expert for women over 40, and I specialize in helping women to be well in their mind, body, and spirit through teaching them about holistic practices, fitness, nutrition, and spiritual renewal. I've been doing it online exclusively for 14 years, and in that time, I've helped women balance their hormones, reduce unwanted pounds and inches, help them with their stress and anxiety, and basically put them on a wellness journey that's better than what they were on before. I do have a group in Facebook called the Vibe Wellness Woman Group. And right now we've got 15,100 women from 92 different countries sharing all kinds of information about how to be well. I have a premium membership program affiliated with that group so that if you are a coach or an entrepreneur or a practitioner, or you have products and services that you think would be of interest to that demographic, please contact me, because it's a very affordable membership, and it gives you the ability to get in front of this very targeted demographic through Facebook Lives, through doing webinars in the group, as well as making sure your postings are seen in the featured section, being established as an expert in the group, and also some other services I provide to help you from the messaging and social media standpoint, because I've been doing this for such a long time. So if this is of interest to you, please, I guess, message me here on Facebook, or if you're on Clubhouse, you can send me a DM on Instagram, and I'd be glad to share with you more information about all of that. And I have some links I can put in here. And do you want me to do that, Francine?
Yeah, if you put it in the, yes, put it in. I think you can put it in the comments. I'm not sure, or either you can put it in the private chat and I'll put it up on the comments.
Okay.
Whoa, this has been an awesome conversation. And okay, let's see, who do we have? I want to go to, I have Cicely. Did you want to come on and tell us who you are and what you do? And she's over in Clubhouse, and we'll see if she's available to have a quick chat. And let's see now, who else do we have? Mark, did you want to? I know, Mark, you can put into the chat what it is that you do. He does Ask Mark Ward. He is a life strategist.
Oh.
And Mark is our resident comedian as well. And Carlos was in here. I'm not sure if he's still in here. Carlos, if you are still here, go ahead and put in the chat what it is that you do as well. I love that, Lynnis. The little.
Yep, everything is there. And I have to go because I've got a 9 o'clock. But thank you so much, and great to meet you.
Nice to
Gloria.
nice to meet you. We will chat for sure.
Okay, good. You got my message. Okay,
yeah,
good.
I did. We will chat.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Lynnis.
Be well.
This has been good here. Let me put this over here.
Yeah, I couldn't put my information in the comments, but I did put it in the chat for you.
Yes, and I put it up on the comments.
Okay.
So I told them that they can find you at youdidn'tgetthememo.com.
Yes.
Okay, here's Mark. Mark says, strategic life planning to help you define success in a measurable capacity and work with you to create the strategies that ensure you achieve them. At Ask Mark Ward on all social media platforms, and his website is nudesign.com. All right, let's see what I got. A comment here from Cecily, maybe. Okay, Cecily, next time you can, whenever you're available, you can come on and tell us about what it is that you do. She is in a meeting at work, and I want to thank you for taking the time out to even be here while you're at work,
Yeah.
because that's not an easy feat. So thank you. And I want to thank everyone else. Is there anyone else? Dr. Tachi, are you still here? You want to tell us what you do? It doesn't tell me. It tells me I have people in the room, but it doesn't tell me who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Tachi, if you are available, you can put in the chat where we can find you. And I know we can find you at Mediascope everywhere. So thank you all for taking the time out today. Gloria, thank you for joining in with us for an awesome conversation. I'm gonna put this up on our podcast, and I really enjoyed talking with you. Okay, Dr. Tachi, you want to come in, or are you saying okay for putting your things up? And Lawana Parker says it was a great show. Oh, Dr. Tachi, she put her email, youtube.com/Tachita, Tachiata.
I love it.
Yes. Mark, you still got jokes. Thank you, ladies. I will go to the front of my line once the shingle shot side effects dissipate. So he must have gotten some shots.
Yeah. Mark, I know about those shingle shots. They're real. Get them for sure. Yeah.
All right. So, I'm going to call you Dr. Bailey-Ray. Is there something coming up? Okay.
It's been a pleasure, Francine. I tell you, I look forward to talking more in depth with you about what it is that you do. I want to definitely connect with you. I know that there was an issue with all of the back and forth. I'm a real early riser. So at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I was like, oh, so I just happened just before I was going out to walk. And I said, let me just check one more time. So, but this has been real. I would love to continue that chat. But what you're doing, keep doing it. I encourage you to keep doing it. And you can tell by the comments, people really respect and enjoy that. And I just love seeing another sister out there doing her thing. So that's awesome.
So don't go away. And I want to say thank you to everybody watching live and on the replay. We're looking forward to tomorrow. Terry Johnson online from New York City is going to be here with our social media and digital marketing information and telling us how to stay on track. Wednesday, we get our Coach Karen with money mindsets. Thursday, we're talking happy, healthy habits with Robin Shimizu and friends. Friday, we'll be talking tech in English. But we're going to be talking tech to help you stay on track with all of the things that you need to run your business and to have a prosperous business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. So we want to thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned for more. And remember, don't forget or remember to go to the front of your own line. See you next time.